Welcome all Winmore residents. I know a lot of you have moved into Winmore and it's a very large place and it could be very overwhelming. So the object of what we're going to be doing now is we're going to have a series of tutorials going over particular areas in Winmore so that you have a better understanding of the place you live and what you pay your maintenance for. We're going to have 4 of these tutorials. Today, we're going to focus on building maintenance. And then next will be grounds maintenance, then property liaison and back office, and the 4th one will be on recreation and entertainment.
Hey, Kavita.
So we're going to try to answer some of the questions. How does Winmore operate? What are the relationships between council, your association, and you as a resident? And what is council and why does it exist? They sound like very simple questions, but it's a little bit complicated and it may take some time. To give you some background, by the way, my name is Bruce Bandler. I'm the administrator here at Winmore Council, and I've been here for 30 years. My first 16 years was as Director of Finance, and I've been administrator for the last 14. And I still remember the day that I first came to Winmore for my interview. I got in the car and I started driving Winmore Circle. And I realized that if you're not paying attention, you could be going around the circle for a long period of time. It's like that song by the Kingston Trio, the MTA, where the man got on the subway and he never returned. So it is very large and it's very complicated. One of our board members, in fact, when he moved in here, he didn't even realize we had a golf course because he lived on the other side of the circle. So you can see that we have a lot of stuff and we want to get into this. Now, there are some terms that we're going to go over that by the end of this seminar, these tutorials, you'll understand what they mean. First is administrator, council, work order, association board, management contract, reserves. We'll be going over those today. And in later meetings, you'll hear terms such as bylaws, Florida Statute 718, and assessments, whether ordinary assessments or special assessments. So the first term was administrator. What is an administrator? I've never heard that before in a community. But really, my job is like a city manager. And Winmore is a city. We have 5,260 units. We have 8,000 to 10,000 people during season. And my job is a little bit different. I do have 10 people, department heads that report directly to me as any city manager would. But I am more involved on the individual level with association boards, council boards, and you as individuals. I get calls all day into my office from individual residents, which we handle to the best of our ability. And some of you don't like the answers, particularly right now during the COVID, because everybody is antsy and they want to get things done. But we do have a responsibility to the greater whole that we keep this place safe. The term council. Now, if you watch British television, you probably hear, oh, council flats. Well, that's what it is. It's a local government. And we as council, we're really the federal government of Winmore. For instance, you all live in villages, and these villages are made up of associations, and you pay your maintenance to these associations, and you have association boards. And Winmore Council is like the federal government. We take care of all the common grounds outside the walls of your village. And we also have an agreement with every association called a management contract, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. The term work order. When your associations need work done, they go to the building maintenance office and your directors ask for a work order. And Marymarie Connolly, who we're going to introduce a little bit later, she'll get into detail of the procedure there. And then we have association boards. You move into your development, into your building, and you have a director, and it's made up of a board of directors, and they make decisions for everything within your village. And if you need to get something done, you have to reach out to them. There are established meetings that you can go to and give your concerns. And they don't report to us as the council. We're there to support them through a contract. And this contract is called a management contract. Now, Winmore has a management contract with all 44 of our associations. And this contract lays out all the duties that we do that if we did not exist, you would have to go out to outside contracts to contractors and agencies to get done. For instance, when people move in, we have the whole system of going through from the application all the way through the approval process. People need stickers, they need ID cards. We take care of that for the association. We also do all the building maintenance. What makes Winmore unique is because we have this management contract, we have our own set of employees. We have over 200 employees here, not like many villages where every association does their own thing. We've become somewhat of a co-op. And by doing that, we have the ability to get things done quicker. You don't have to wait for a company to come out here. We're right here on site. And I think our reputation is that things get done very quickly here at Winmore. And we're here, we're not going anywhere. You can find us. You don't have to dial a number and wait for a call back 2 weeks from now. So we pride ourselves on that. And this was developed by the people that first came into Winmore. They said, you know what, we can go out and be our own, or we can be united and be stronger. And that's where we stand today, and it works out very well. So this relationship we have is referred to as the management contract. And in the management contract, we have experts in our building maintenance, and we're going to focus on the building maintenance today. And the objective is to get you the best work at the best price, and we're talking quality. Now, when Michael speaks later, he's going to go into detail about how the relationship between the association and Winmore when it comes to contracts. So why don't we do that now? Let me introduce the panel. So if I can see the panel here from building maintenance. Can we pull that up, Henry? Henry is our producer today. He's been our producer all the time on these Zooms. Okay. Let's see, Mike, Mary, and Ed. Mike is our building maintenance director. He's been with us. Mike, how many years have you been with us? If you unmute your microphone there. Mike?
7 years.
How many years?
27.
27, right? I thought you said 10. 27, and he's our building maintenance director, and that is taking care of all the associations. It's taking care of our vehicle maintenance division. It's taking care of the handyman, and he's got a very big job. And Mike is one of my weekend warriors. When we have problems here on the weekend, his crew has to come in and take care of things. And Mike will tell a little bit more about himself when we get to him. So let's introduce other people on the panel. Next, I have Marymarie Connolly. Mary, you've been here more than Michael, haven't you?
29 years.
29 years. Okay. You started when you were 16?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Mary is the anchor of the department. Everything runs through her. And when I need to really make a point to Mike and Ed, I call Mary and I say, Mary, please make sure you stay on top of this and make sure it gets done. And I appreciate that. And when Mary gets a chance to speak, she'll go into detail about how the system works with work orders and associations, and you as a resident, if you need something done on an individual level. And third but not least is Ed Moore. Ed is Michael's assistant to building maintenance / project manager, and that keeps him pretty busy. So Ed, you want to say hello to the public here? You have to unmute, Ed.
Hello to the public.
Hi, okay. Nice to see you there. Okay, so let's go back to Mike Salimbene. Mike, why don't you just give us a general idea right now of what's going on in Winmore?
Overall projects happening. What's going on around Winmore Circle? Let's see, the sidewalks that everybody walks on, I see them out there every morning walking around there. We have a contract with a company that comes in. I walk it with them every twice a year. So we have sidewalk repair that's coming up. Contracts were signed and scheduling is being taken care of now. This is the paving sidewalks around Winmore Circle. We also have the tennis courts were also signed. Every year at the tennis courts, we pick two tennis courts. This year it's 5 and 6, and they are completely redone. That is also signed, and we're waiting for a start date. The work around the main pool, this started in March with the, well, the work didn't start in March, but since the COVID virus hit in March, we decided, Bruce and I spoke, and we decided to renovate the pool area, clean it up, and bring it up to speed while we're closed. And it took a few months, as everybody knows, that we couldn't get people on site, and a lot of places were shut down. But all contracts were signed. If anybody drives up there now, they could see the work going on. We power washed, the in-house painters power washed the walls, and we thought it was just going to be a power washing and painting. And they're here longer than I am, so the walls were really quite deteriorated. So we had to replaster the walls inside and outside before we painted the walls. So that's going on now, and they're doing a nice job. If anybody sees it, it's 2 coats of plaster on the big cracks. They're putting a fiber mesh on it and going over it. They're doing a nice job. Then we'll take over, WCC will take over, and we're gonna paint it, prime it and paint it, seal it, prime it and paint it in-house. We always try to save, we have a large ability of, let's see, to do a lot of work here. We got carpenters. Years ago, what we did, we used to have a lot of handymen. And we kind of got out of that system. As the buildings were getting older, we realized that we needed more professional people. So we started reaching out for real masons and plasterers and painters and carpenters and electricians. So we got licensed electricians. So we stepped it up a notch to quality, more quality people. So we could do a lot of this stuff in-house. The problem with doing too much in-house is that we can't keep up with everybody's needs. So that leads us to the contract. Sometimes we do go outside and get some help. And that's where Ed comes in. He takes care of the contracts as the project manager and gets the bigger projects done. If you walk around Winmore now, you'll see some pools are actually coming out of the ground. They're 45 years old, and some of them are, in 1970, the rules and regulations on building the pools weren't as strong as they are today. So some of the concrete is not as thick as it should be. So anyway, that's when that's all determined, Ed takes over, and we're doing there. The electrical department, as I said, is all licensed electricians. We are permitted by the city. They come in once a month, and all the work that we do is read off a book. We have to keep a book. They come in and sit with the head electrician, and they go over all the projects, and they're permitted that way, our smaller projects. We do have a handyman service right now, but it's not in it's not in service right now because of the COVID. We're not going into people's apartments unless it's an emergency. If there's a water leak, an intrusion, an emergency, then we will go in with all masks. Everybody has to have a mask on. And work orders, Mary will get into if the directors need some work done on the building itself. We're building maintenance. There is a section for grounds maintenance, but that's a different department. But Mary will put a work order in. They'll assign a man to that particular job, and he'll take care of it. To move on, I got sidetracked. So we're working at the main pool, and I'm waiting for a start date, and we're going to re-diamond bright and retile the main pool, the walking pool, and the jacuzzi. So that's in progress also. Once that's done, we're going to power wash the whole area up there, the whole main pool area, and seal it. And we're going to do that in-house. I don't need to go outside for that either. We have the equipment and the capability to do that. So, the card rooms, card room 1 and 2 down at the clubhouse. Also, the rugs are being put in. We took that whole 2 areas apart, the 2 card rooms apart. We painted all the metal. We cleaned all that up. We painted the walls. We repainted the walls, and now the rugs are going in. They should be done maybe today or Monday. And then we'll clean, sanitize all the furniture, and put them all back. So when we open up, we'll be ready. We haven't stopped cleaning and taking care of of anything. The only thing that we stopped was the handyman service because we didn't want to go inside anybody's apartment and, you know, have any problems that way. But all other services are in full swing. That's anything else?
Yeah, you've done a yeoman's job when it's come to COVID-19. I don't think people really understand. We have not missed a beat. Concern about outside contractors and masks. And I know that's a lot to do with security, but you have a good relationship with these contractors. What happened?
Yes.
What is necessary as far as masks go?
We tell them that they have to wear masks. Now, you got to understand, we're in Florida. It's 100 degrees. These guys are working hard, and they need to breathe. So they do take them off occasionally because we've gotten calls. But when I go out there or when I send somebody out there, they're just taking a break. They can't breathe, you know, properly. So please be patient. But yes, we do tell all our contractors they have to wear masks. It's an absolute must.
Mike, let's talk about the management contract and the relationship between Winmore and the associations. And I'll use roofs, for example. I'm a resident, I'm sitting by the pool, and I understand that we need a new roof. So we went to Winmore, and the roof is $200,000. And our board decided, you know, we're going to make some phone calls, and we're out there, and we got somebody to do it for $110,000. Is this apples to apples, or why is Winmore like so much higher all the time than when my director goes out and gets these contracts?
Well, I can't answer for the high numbers, but I could say this: you must bring those contracts and those contractors to us so we could find out what the reasoning for that. We have a certain if you want to just stay with the roofs for a minute, we have a certain process that we like. And we know what works for our roofs, the certain kind of roof. If you want to go out and get a rubber roof or a plastic roof or like a pool lining roof, yes, they're cheaper. But that's not necessarily a roof that works in Winmore. It could be a good roof somewhere else. The roof itself isn't a bad roof. But if you take a large 56-unit building, you've got 56 air conditioners up there. So certain roofs just don't apply to us because we have so much activity on the roofs. And these contractors leave a lot of stuff up there on those roofs. So, and we try to maintain that as much as we can. So please, it's okay if you want to go outside, but your first stop should be here. Bring us the contract. Bring us the name of the contractor. We'll vet them. We'll find out if they're good, they're bad, what size they are, their bills are paid. And we'll take it from there. And we'll find out why it's 110 versus 200 for you.
I know the job of the contractor is to sell you the contract. So we got to make sure the scope of the work, like you say, what are you buying? Sometimes you say it's cheaper, but it didn't include items A, B, C, and D. Can you give us an example of something like that?
Yeah, I have one going on right now. I have somebody came to me and they showed me, they wanted a seal coating of their parking lot. So I went out, he asked me to get another bid for him, and I did. He got his bid from his people, let's say, someone he got from the outside. And they're giving him a seal coat, but they mentioned nothing about root intrusion and repairs and oil spots. You just can't seal over that stuff. So the bid that I got was including root repair and blacktop damage repair to a certain square footage. So there's the difference right there. That was a $2,000 difference in the contract. That's going on right now.
I know from my experience, we've had a lot of directors that had success with other contractors that we didn't know about. But then again, there's the horror stories where they thought it was cheaper and it wound up being almost double the price if they went with a established scope of work with a vendor that had a track record versus somebody that tried to come in here and give a good price to get the business.
Yeah. Well, we have found, let me say this though, we have found a few good contractors through our people. They've brought us, I'll say 3 that I know of that we still use today that came in their way. And they're still serving us quite well. Yeah, and then The problem with contracts is that everybody buys different. Who wants to use Benjamin Moore? And then when you get a contractor comes in, wow, I use Joe Blow's paint. It's much better than this. And so everybody's got to sell you, and they all want to say their way of doing it is better. We had take the expansion joints for a minute. Years ago, we had a guy come in from the beach, and he said he's got the answer to our expansion joints. So we said, okay. So he presented this package, and it was a rubber bladder. You open up the expansion, you chop up the concrete, you put this rubber bladder in, and you blow it up. Well, it looked like an alligator back. So we can't have that on our catwalks. That's a tripping hazard. He says, yeah, but it'll never leak. I said, yeah, but I'll never get out of court. So we couldn't use that. It could be a good system somewhere else. Then he wanted to put a plate over it, and that's the time we were trying to get rid of all the plates because they were tripping hazards. So everybody's got a little something different to bring.
And everybody has good intentions. But as a resident, right, if I find out my board is going to go with a particular vendor on a particular job, it's really not my responsibility, but I should be asking the board questions. Why? Because if there's got to be reasons why things are cheaper. And if they're leaving things out or things are amiss and it comes down to later where we have to go to a lawsuit or, hey, the vendor says, that wasn't in the contract to start with, we have problems. Now, how do we know what work is being subcontracted out by associations? Is there anything in the management contract that says they have to keep us informed?
Yes, it does. Page 8, top of the paragraph. I think it's paragraph 2. It states that they have to bring those contracts to us, and then we could watch them. I can help you. But I also have to say this. Once you pick that particular vendor, and I've been involved in many of these where we go out there and we tell them our way, and they just, yeah, and they go right on and doing it. Now, does that mean it's a bad job? No, but it's their way versus our way, and we're more TLC for Winmore.
So as a resident, I know that somebody is out there looking for me, that if my board makes a decision to go with something, somebody's going to be managing and looking at this job if we allow them to do their job.
If it comes to us first,
Right.
we decide on that contractor together.
Right.
But personally agree with it or not, if that's their choice, yes. But if don't just do the job, sign the contracts, run into trouble, and then run down to the maintenance and say, I need help. We don't
Now, a lot of people think there's a stigma that we want our contractors in there. Well, in a sense, yes, because we know them. But we will work with outside people that we don't know. And like you said, you've added 3 recently. So that stigma was supposed to be alleviated when we updated the management contract and we gave the associations more leeway to go out there and do that and know they have our support. In the past management contracts, it was if you went outside, don't look at us at all. Now it is if you do go outside, we'll still be there as long as you keep us in the loop, and we were able to vet it, which we should have done in the beginning if you made us part of the process. You're paying for us in your maintenance, you might as well use us. And I know everybody wants to be a hero and say to their board, look at us, we got cheaper than it was first originated that was sent to us. And I think, if we get out of that hero mentality and say, what is the best for the association, and it's fine. And we're out of that mentality because if somebody comes to us and says, the price is right for the same scope of work, for the time limits, and they have the insurance and they have the licensing, we're all for it. And we wind up using them for council jobs and other associations we recommend.
Right. As we found out, cheap is very expensive.
Yes. And yeah.
And here's the truth of the matter. If I have a contractor out here and he's doing 2 or 3 jobs and your job's going a little sour, he's not going to get paid from those other jobs until he straightens your job out. It's the business, so.
Right. And I know that, I'm an association director. You want to come into Winmore and share your wares with us as a contractor because you want to promote yourself to others. So as time goes on, if he really can't make his money on the job,
Yeah.
he's really he can't do it, and people suffer. So you could probably do one job under standard pricing, but as it goes on, you find out he has to raise his price because he wanted to get his foot in the door,
Exactly.
or whatever. So we try to find people that have a good track history.
Well,
I see you smiling. You've gone through this, yeah.
Well, we have an ability. Let's see. We have to be careful. When you own your own home, you could get Joe Schmo to, with a one.
Mr. Schmo to you.
Yeah, Mr. Schmo to me, and he could come in and he could do the job cheaper. When you come to me, I got to make sure he's got the insurance, liability insurance, all the insurances are covered, and he's strong enough to take these jobs on. Because God forbid something happens, he's got to be strong enough to take. So we're looking for that middle of the road kind of guy.
You bring so much stuff to my attention that enlightens me. I really appreciate it. And I want to share this one story about the pools. Everybody thinks we're a big dog. We have pools. Why can't we get contractors out here there should be 100 contractors to bid on these pools. But if I'm doing pools, it is more profit orientated to do individual. We have so many individual resident pools in the state of Florida or in our areas that they can whip out more individual pools and make a higher profit margin than doing one community pool, which would take them 2-3 months.
It takes them 2-3 months to get through the paperwork.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I had a debate with one contractor about that, and that's what he came up with. Because when you do our pools, you need a special license. We're governed by the state and the town with our pools. We're commercial pools. We're not a home. They don't come. We're not in your backyard. Our pools are not, that kind of a pool. It's not a home pool. Our equipment runs 24/7, 7 days a week. Chemicals are pumped in 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So we're commercial. So they have to have a commercial license. So we're going over this, and he says, and then he just stopped me. He says, listen, he says, I don't have that license. I could do the repairs, but I don't have that license. He says, how many houses in Florida have pools? What? I said, what are you talking about? He says, I got more work than I can handle just taking care of houses. I don't need these big association pools. Right. That was the end of him.
And look what happened with Aruba. Everything we tried to do right, and then they came in and you got to remove this tree, and this fence has to be 6 feet from here, and you have to do this. And every week it was like they kept adding things on. They didn't give you everything in one shot because they had all these different types of inspectors and different types of permits.
Oh, the town with their inspection. We know every 6 months changes are happening over there.
They're looking out for the residents, but still it's a much bigger animal than an individual pool.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I think you enlightened us a lot, and I know everybody knows you're here for the residents and women.
Absolutely. Right. If they need help, just call here. We'll direct you. Even if we can't do it, we'll direct you in the right direction.
And don't you have a badge that says "Use me, but don't abuse me"? Because I think you're pretty well. You get a little bit of both.
Nah, everybody's fine.
I know. We have a very good community here, and everybody's got the right interest.
Exactly.
Right. But just be careful sometimes, because the problems might pop up 10 years after you're the director, you're not here anymore, and all of a sudden people your community is living with situations you didn't think about or maybe said wasn't important at the time.
Well, that's a big thing. Yes, because a director comes in with new ideas and he's going to do it his way, he's going to do it that way, and then next year he's not the director and nobody knows what the heck went on.
At short term, it's great, but long term, you could have saved money by doing it.
Yeah, here we go, right.
Yeah, right. It's always better to do it right the first time, pay a little bit more, and you're done with it.
Get it done.
Right. Well, thank you, Michael. And stay aboard because we have some questions here. Okay, I want to go to Mary next. Marymarie. Hi, Mary. You have to unmute.
Now,
Okay, good to see you. As I introduced you as the anchor of Winmore, you're down there. Oh, you have your own theme music.
Mary, Mary, where you going to?
Wow, that's pretty cool, Mary.
Mary, can I come to?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, okay, very good.
Good morning.
Okay, now that you're totally embarrassed, I'm a resident, just moved into Winmore. I never get to talk to people in building maintenance. I don't even know you guys exist. So I'm coming down to your office right now, okay? And if you could just enlighten me about how things, I see all these people working in my village. How does this stuff come about?
Okay. Maintenance office. Let me first say we have a staff of 5 people in the office helping anybody that calls in, whether it be a resident, a director. They will take the calls, they will take the walk-ins, whatever it is you need. If it's a resident needing something inside your unit, we can assist you with that. If it's something that we do, if it's a building director, we will take the work order for just about anything pertaining to the building. So if residents see people out on their property, they see them on the roof, on the catwalks, all the resident can do, has to do is call in and say, there's so-and-so at my building. Can you tell me what he's here for? Because people get nervous. They see people walking outside. Our guys all wear badges. They all wear uniforms stating that they're a Winmore employee, but some people don't see that. So they call the office. We can pull it up on the computer, the building, the approximate area, and we can tell them what that worker is doing there and that the director called it in, and that way they know what's going on there. And they do that quite often. They'll see people out there. So that's a very, very quick and easy fix.
Okay, but you're specifically as a resident, if there's a problem in the building, I should really go to my director.
Yes, if anything outside your front door, you should call the resident, or excuse me, call the director. The director will then call in a work order. If you're having a problem inside your unit, you can call us, and most likely it's a handyman. Unless it's something like a leak. You've got a leak coming in through the window, you've got a leak coming in through the ceiling. We would still suggest you put the call in through your director.
Now I have something in my unit, something with the drywall, and it's an association responsibility. Do I have the right to go out, hire my own contractor, and have the work done?
You can, but the building does not have to pay for it because it is not documented. We have not gone out there. We haven't documented it. We haven't measured the repair that's needed. So you could go out and hire somebody. They're going to come in and say, well, you've got $1,000 worth of drywall that needs to be repaired, when we could have done it for, say, $200. So you can't hand that bill to your building director and say, here, you pay for it.
So the association is the one responsible for paying, hiring the vendor and whatever, and not the unit owner.
Yes.
On association matters, right?
Yes.
That's very good. I think people need to know that because they get confused, or they say, I need this right now, and they don't want to go through the process.
Yes.
Right. Okay. What else is going out there? Handyman. I go 3 times. That's handyman code. Handyman. What services do we provide?
We provide electrical, plumbing. We have a locksmith program. Right now, we're not doing them because of the COVID, but normally we would replace light bulbs, light switches, outlets, the toilets. We would unclog toilets, replace ball cocks, flappers, your window balances, where your windows go up and down. They're called balancers. We can replace those. You're having a problem with your locks. We can come out, we can lubricate them, we can replace the locks, we can make additional keys for you.
The handyman program has made Winmore famous because here's an association will allow you to avoid an outside vendor, and you can use the Winmore service, and we live here and you know us and you know you're going to get quality. One thing we need to look at is this was established in 1995, and we have not increased any of the fees. It's still, I believe, $12 a half hour and 24 for the full hour. And we're doing things like plumbing and this and that. So this is something we're going to have to evaluate. And now's a good time, since we're not performing any duties right now, that if we come up with a new schedule, that's something that it'll be fair and reasonable, but people should be looking out for that in the near future when we get back up and going, and we'll see how that works. No rush on that, but that's something we're looking into. So as a Winmore resident, I know that I feel secure that you're down there and you're on the phones, and the place is on fire half the time, and you're looking out for us and taking good care of us.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are. We're
and
here.
I know the directors know that, because they talk very highly of you and your staff. And you want to talk about people on your staff right now and what their functions are?
Sure.
Generally?
I've got 4 people in the immediate front office. They answer phones, whether it's for the associations or it's for the residents. They're booking the handymans. They're taking all work orders. They're assisting anybody in any way they can. If there's a problem in the front and they can't answer the question, some are here longer than others, and not everybody knows all the answers. My 29 years here, I still get hit once in a while with something that I can't answer fully. I have people like Mike I can go to. I can go to you. I could call someone in another department to get the truthful answer that I need to assist this resident. So my staff knows to do that. Excuse me. Excuse me. But they are there to help anybody out in any given way, whether it's a walk-in, whether it's a call-in. We're here for them. I also have approximately 30 guys out in the field, anywhere from electricians, plumbers, masons, carpenters, painters, pool staff, that are all willing, to go outside the box and help anybody at any given time. We take care of emergencies. We try to get everything done in a timely manner, a timely, efficient manner. Sometimes there's a little bit of wait, but that's just because we're popular. A lot of people want our services. They appreciate what we do. They like what we do. We're honest, we're clean. Our guys are really nice. They're sociable. And we stand behind everything. So there's really no reason why people wouldn't want to call us and use our services.
So let's review. I'm a resident. My relationship with you personally is for handyman type services, right?
Yes.
But in the building situation, I should always go to my director.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a third one, which again, we use the term council. Council is all properties that are outside of your village. For instance, the Winmore Roadway, the theater, the golf course, the country club, the racket center. Those are all council properties.
Yes.
If you have a problem with that, they can call you about that, and then that will come to my office, and we will budget or take care of those situations.
Yeah. If somebody sees a problem in one of the recreational areas, I would suggest to them to please call recreation. Recreation could call me and we could put in a work order. Do we mandate it? No, because if it's an emergency, we're going to take the call regardless. We're not going to make people, run the gambit there trying to get in a work order. An emergency is an emergency. I'll take that call from anybody.
And as a sidebar, as a resident, I should know who my council representative is, because they make the policy for the council, including the budget. So if I see something, I think it's a good idea, I should go to them, and they're the ones that should fight for me at that level to say, you know what, I think it's good that, we build a parking garage over at the track 1000, and it will have more legs to walk on if it's a good idea or not. So use your representatives. You're not out there alone. So you have representatives on the council level, on the association level, and really, realistically, all of our employees are one-on-one with you, and we'll watch out for you anyway. We won't tell you, not our job, go to this person.
Exactly.
We will do it. And one thing that we pride ourselves on, and I hope it's true, is like not pass the buck. If something comes to you and it's not really your item, you'll get in touch with whoever that is, whether it's liaison office or grounds, and you'll say, I got a call from Mrs. McGillicuddy. She's got a tree branch hanging over her patio. Can we do something about it? And that person will call her, and she'll get this really good feeling that, well, I can't do it, but I can talk to your director. But you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of red tape, but it's not like you call and nothing happens. And being on property is a big factor also, because we can't run away. We don't run away, and our doors and our phones, now it's our phones and our email have been open.
Yeah, you just made a mention about the tree branch. This week alone, and I've probably gotten half a dozen calls about things in the roadways, things on the grass. Do I really have to call grounds? No, give me your name, your phone number. I will have them follow it up, but I will let grounds know. And I walk it into the grounds office, take care of it. We've had a problem where they ran over some sprinkler heads. In the meantime, the water's gushing up in the air. I'm not going to play around and say, well, you got to call grounds maintenance. And you just make the call and you take care of it. It's that easy.
Yeah, same thing. If you see a dead animal in the street, we want to get rid of that as quick as possible. That's really on the grounds. They send somebody out every morning. They send somebody out, but if you call, they remove those particular creatures. And then creature control, I'll get into that in our landscape seminar, because that's really where that belongs to. And that's a big issue. But Mary, thank you for everything, what you do, and all your creative ideas that you bring to the table. I know you're working on a new work order system, which is supposed to make your life easier down the road, but now it's just another thing right now. But your expertise and what you give to that is making it going to be a successful program.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mary,
Okay.
where you going to?
Henry, do we have a song for Ed? I doubt it.
Oh, my.
Maybe more from that play with Ethel Merman, but we're not going to play that. Ed Moore, where are you?
I'm right here. How are you, boss?
Okay, good to see you. I don't see you, though. Can we have a photo of Ed? Ed, put your camera on.
My camera was on. It just got shut off.
Okay, we'll make that a special project to put it back on.
It's back on.
There he is. Good to see you. Ed, you have a very important role here, and I just want to congratulate you on the completion of the restaurant. And everyone thinks it's complete when the doors open, but it's not. Once the vendor gets in there, he starts bringing things to our attention.
It's ongoing.
It's a wonderful project. It really brought a spark to our community, and that's what we're all about. We're a 5-star community, and that's our reputation, and that makes it that way. And all these projects you're working on, some are evident right away as whether it's the restaurant, but we have some that also have for utilization purposes. We put you in charge of the elevators, which
Right.
It's an up and down situation, and you're handling it very well. You want to talk about that for those residents that do have elevators and do get frustrated when the elevator's down, and what is our procedure to get them back up as quick as possible?
Yes. Actually, we have a contract with Oracle right now, and they come out. If the elevator's down, you call the director calls us, and we have the Oracle will come out within an hour and have the elevator back up and running if they don't need parts. Generally, it's within that hour that they get it going. We have a lot of older elevators here that we're working on getting them up to code. We have a new consultant that's helping us along with that, getting the spec sheets and the scope of work all lined up. That's all finished. But yeah, generally, most of the elevators are working most of the time. I mean, very
These
seldom.
elevators are all they're starting to be replaced. So what are the ages of the elevators throughout Winmore?
The ages are probably as old as the building. So they're 35 years old, 40 years old, and they have never been fixed or redone. We have probably about 15 that have been redone, and they're up to code right now, which is good. So those we shouldn't have any problems with for another 10 years.
In your opinion, what's a real lifespan for an elevator?
From what I've been told from the consultant, it's about 10 years to 15 years, and
So
we've
we're
got
getting
35. Yeah, we got 35 out of ours.
So we're on a string all the time.
We're whipping an old horse.
Right, and the major item is the piston. And in our community, all the ones that have the elevator share a fund for a piston reserve, which we need to put more funds in, but at least we have something in there to get started.
Right.
But since we started the fund about 5, maybe 7 years ago, we haven't had a piston go down. So that's how you do things, right? You buy an umbrella, it never rains.
Right.
Right. We talked about with Mike about contractors and contracting.
Yes.
And I know you take great pride into going out and trying to fill your book with all these different vendors. Do you want to give us some details on it?
I actually want to, yeah, bring that up. The vendor log. I have a book that we started about maybe 9 months ago. I actually had to get a bigger book yesterday to put all the vendors in there that we're using now, that have been that we've actually gone through background checks on. Sometimes we'll call some of their references to make sure the work. Some of them worked out, some of them didn't. But we are almost every day I get a call from a resident and or a director, a president. Somebody will call me and give me a new name, and then I'll do the background check and we'll try them out. It doesn't hurt to give them a try. At least let them go.
The vendors are required to have insurance and license, is that true?
They must have assurance and a license.
Right.
Yes, and
you
some of them
vet
have
you vet
special
them
license. As Mike was indicating, they'll have to have a special license to work on our pools and things of that nature.
Right.
And AC units.
Right. Are the fences that spike that are going up, is that to keep residents in or keep outsiders out? What is that?
They didn't tell me what it was for. They just said, get it done.
Let's just get it done, right? And it's moving faster than it was. You picked up speed. You got a new vendor, and
yeah, we got it again. That's another good thing. We went out to bid with 3 different vendors. We got the best, not only the best price, but the guy's working out quite well.
yeah.
He's moving along quite a lot quicker than the last vendor did.
And it's quality work, and it's good product.
And it's the exact same product that it was being put up.
That's fantastic.
And also, just to piggyback off what Mike was talking about, we actually have some more consultants that we're working with, elevator consultants, roof consultants, and Mike has actually tasked me with all of our scopes of work. He wants me to get them all up to date because, as we know, all the codes change about every 6 months. So I'm gonna start working on getting all of our scope of work updated, so we're in line with what the city is looking for.
As a resident, I lived in Aruba, and the pool seemed like it'd take forever. So I decided I'm going to move to Bimini. Now I'm in Bimini. I don't know what to do anymore. I know it's very frustrating. These jobs are long. Can you give people a detail what takes so long? And I know Mike touched on it with certain items, but can you run us through and tell us these meetings that you have every week to make sure everyone is keeping alert?
Well, to start with, just to get it going, we have to go to an engineer. The engineer has to do the drawings. We have to go out to bid, and it goes to the city. The city does their changes of what they wanted the engineer to do. It's got to go back to the engineer, get the changes done. Then it goes back to the vendor. The vendor goes and starts, and we sign off on it. And then we get a deposit. Then they start to work. And then every step of the way that these vendors are working, so he's doing the rip out. Say we're talking about Bimini right now. They got to rip out everything. Then the inspector's got to come and look at everything. He's got to sign off that everything's ripped out and done. Then the next step would be, let's say, just pouring the cement, pouring the walls. Inspector's got to come out and look at the walls and how they're doing it, how much rebar's in there. It takes quite a bit of time. It's not like, and it always looks like they're standing still, but they're not. They're actually waiting, and it's a long process.
Right. Now, we say pool. It's more than pool, right? The deck, it's the pump house.
The deck, the pump house, plumbing underground, the electrical underground. All these things need to be inspected, and it takes some time.
Right. It's not just simply you go in there one weekend, dig a hole and fill water.
Right. It's not your house.
Right.
Right. No, it takes some time.
Right. Well, that's good.
Can I just interject one thing? Don't forget Health. The Board of Health also has to,
Yes.
And Mike, what was that law about the drains and because of the, remember the name of that law? It was named after a child?
Virginia Graham Baker Act.
Virginia Graham, yeah, tell us about the Virginia Graham Baker and that
Well,
we have to
the
comply with.
Virginia Graham Baker Act was set in by a girl, and that was her name, Virginia Graham. And the main drains in the big pools were flat, and she wound up getting sucked onto that, and she drowned. So what they look like now, the drains are concaved, they're kind of round on top, and the tops are like an alligator backing. So you can't get stuck in it. There's always air in there, so you can't get stuck on it like that little girl did. So and every 5 years they have to be replaced.
And Mike, everybody that uses the walking pool, what do they always say when they hit that bump? They don't understand why the bump is there, right?
Yeah. Well, we put a sign in there though.
Right.
Sign.
Yeah, when people walk in the walking pool because of this act, we had to do that drain project, and it's a little bit elevated at that point, and people get a little perturbed with us. They think that we just did a bad job, but it's a pimple on the floor of the pool.
Yeah, it's a Virginia Graham Baker Act. Every 5 years, we have to change that, and the center gets a different color dot, and that's how the inspectors know. Our pools are inspected also by the state, and they do not tell us when they're coming out, and they tell us where they're going.
Surprise quiz.
Yeah, I can't bring them to my best pools. You know, they go where they want to go.
I thought all your pools are your best pools.
Yes, they are.
That's right. Okay.
So,
Well, thank you, Michael, for interjecting
okay.
that.
I just want to throw that in because
we'll finish up with Ed here. Ed, I remember when we told the associations for insurance purposes that they need fences around their pool. We got a little bit of feedback that, you know, resistance. But now they can't wait to get them, and they love them. And I don't know why people put in rocks to keep the gates open, because the gates they don't have like a lock on them. They can't get out or in.
Yeah, when we first started with the fence, I got the project to get the fence company out here. So we got 3 bids, and we went out and started it, and we got a lot of pushback. Nobody wanted it. And now I'm getting a lot of phone calls. Man, this looks good. We should have done this. And the people that don't have their fences in yet are calling, asking when are they getting their fences. And anyway, we should be done with that project within the next couple of weeks.
Right. And I don't want to go back to the past, but it was scary if you think about it. We have people, we have children, we have people with dementia, we have people just walking in the dark, and people can't swim, or they get into a difficult situation and they happen to fall in the pool in the middle of the night. Bad things happen. So that's why it's important. It's not for decoration. We're making it look nice, but it really should have been addressed a long time ago. And again, that's something you want to put off because we don't want to spend the money. But in reality, when you do the cost of the number of units, it was pretty reasonable. Ed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good answer. Okay, Ed, you want to add anything else before we wrap up here?
No, I'm all good.
All right. Henry, let's bring everybody back on the screen. If they're still with us, Mike and Mary. Okay, good. Okay. I just want to, again, thank you guys. And I just want to review. So Mrs. McGillicuddy and all the residents that live here that are not involved in the daily operation understand what our achievements, what we try to achieve here. How does Winmore operate? I think you guys told a good job of how we contract, how we create work orders, how we work with association directors, and how we work with residents when it's a resident type issue, vis-a-vis a handyman situation. We are open to everybody. You have something you want to call us about, even though we need approval by the association directors. Your ideas are great. We pass them on, and the directors are usually very happy of the communication. Number 2, the relationships between the council, the association, and the residents. We as the council, we're like the federal government. We help all you different states. The associations are like states, and we're there to provide these services for you. Another one of our responsibilities is try to create a standard in Winmore so all villages give the impression that we are our 5-star. We don't want villages to lag and say, you know what, I could save money on this. And by saving money on this, you know, when people drive in, they say, oh, I don't know, it doesn't look great. We all should look great. So, and all associations are really doing that. So we're very happy about that. And why do we exist in the first place? Why are we here? To serve the people, to serve the associations, and to make it a streamlined operation so that we don't have 47 different landscaping companies here and all these different building maintenance contractors out here. It's very limited when you think about it. The contractors are here basically because they've been contracted by us for jobs that we can't do, or a unit needs particular service in their unit, which is not really our situation. So again, I'd like to thank you guys. I hope that the residents out there found this useful. And if this spurred up any questions that you have, let us know, and we'll have a follow-up show. So this is seminar number 1 out of 4. The next one will be grounds maintenance. And thank you for participating, and we'll see you all soon. So thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
Well, thank you for all your support, Bruce. We couldn't do it without your support and the council's support.
Well, thank you, Michael. And it's very gratifying when we come to work every morning and we drive around the circle, and you just can see the buildings and you feel the energy and the landscaping and the quality of people that live here, and that people do recognize what we do. And really, we get so few agitations compared to the accolades. So accolades, 100, aggravation, 7. That's a winning score as far as I'm concerned. All right, guys, thank you so much. And residents, we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.